you like me to go through some housekeeping items?
Please.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Professor Chanroth. Good to see you today.
Good morning. Yeah.
Hope you've had a good, a good couple of weeks before today. I just wanted to, I've been trying to collate the database of the participants in the action research workshop. And I have a few names without email addresses that I'd like to just go through. So I'm just going to share my screen for a moment before Dr. Irby begins. Let's see here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir. So the last workshop, we had 15 participants based off of the screenshot that we took from the Zoom meeting. And of those 15 participants, I have 7 emails. So I was able to send the link to the Google Drive to those 7 emails, even though I dropped the Google Drive in the Telegram group yesterday. But I would love to have emails and phone numbers for the remaining 8 participants. And so if I go through the names, pardon me as I try to pronounce the names, or correct me where necessary. And if you let me know who is here, because sometimes the Zoom names could be different from their actual names. So I think that's part of what the problem was. Chem Kimson. Is Kimson here?
I am here, ma'am.
Okay. Young Sak. Is Sak here? Maybe not yet, but at least I have his email address. Makara Fan. Not here, but I have his email address. Kith Sokunthi. Is Kith here?
Not yet.
Okay. Mel. Is Mel here?
What? Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm here.
Awesome. So I don't have, okay. Chanti Veng.
Chanti, not yet.
I see Chanti.
Chanti?
Yeah, I see Chanti.
Okay. Cam Chana. Chana here?
Cam Chana, not yet.
Not yet, okay. So for these first 7, I have their emails at least, so not to worry too much about them being here or not. Maybe they'll join in a few minutes. But the other 8, Chi Kim Yi.
Chi Kim Yi, now not yet.
Okay, is there someone who can supply me with Chi Kim's email at some point?
Okay.
Okay. In Ratha.
In Ratha.
I know her. I sent her.
I don't see it yet. Not yet.
Okay. But I sent her a Telegram message directly yesterday, though. I found her.
Okay.
Leon Kosel.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Kosel. If you could drop your email in the chat for me, please, and your phone number. Thank you. Bjorn, I didn't get a last.
Nguyen. Not see yet.
Okay. Seth Sophony.
Yes, I am here.
Perfect, Seth. If you could drop your email and phone number in the chat for me, please.
Actually, I have sent in the Google Doc.
Okay, perfect. Tim Lika.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Tim, do you want to drop your email for me, or did you get the Google Doc yesterday? Tim Lika, do you want to drop your email and phone number for me, please?
Yes, teacher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Vanak Cho.
Tawana. Not yet, yeah.
Not yet here. Okay. Vichakta Ross.
Yes, I'm here, teacher.
Oh, perfect. Could you put your email address and phone number in the chat for me, please?
Yes.
Awesome. That would be...
New York, I think that there are some new people joining today.
Yes. I just realized that. So for the new people joining, if you're new today, if you can drop your email and phone number in the chat, I'll just grab all of that. Okay.
Excuse me, teacher. Excuse me, teacher. I am concerned, but I have problem with my email. I cannot log in.
Oh.
So may I change it?
Sure. And
Okay.
let's see. I'm gonna put my phone number and my email in the chat so you can grab that and send it to me once you've changed your email address.
Okay. Thank you so much, teacher.
Okay. Thank you so much. That'll be all for now.
Thank you, York. Yeah, we need your email so that when we send you like your action research, PD certificates, things like that, we can't send that through Telegram. We need to send it to your emails. So we need a working Gmail from you, or Yahoo works for us as well. Okay, well, without further ado, thank you, York, for doing some housekeeping, and wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for wonderful attendance this evening for you. And thank you for coming 1 hour later. The time change with daylight savings means that we're 9 o'clock your time instead of 8 o'clock your time. So we appreciate the extra hour of commitment, pushing it 1 hour down the road. So I will hand over to Dr. Irby. This is our second action research session, and I'm going to start recording the session. So just be aware of your cameras and your backgrounds and your microphones, please. Okay, so Dr. Irby, the show is yours.
Recording in progress.
Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So what I wanted to show you is that this is from, some people are new. So on October 20th, 22, we talked about some of these items here. And I'm going to go over that because the new things that we're going to talk about tonight are actually in the at the end of this. So I was just showing them last time where I am in the world and where I'm from originally. And so we talked about what action research is, and we defined it as a powerful, transformative, and reflective experience in which teachers investigate in ways in which they can improve their classrooms and their schools with outcomes being changed procedures or policies. So it's possible that you could have some changed procedures in your classroom or in classrooms on your campus or in some sort of policy or procedure. So I asked everyone to select a topic and think about it. So they were selecting topics and we gave some examples. I'm going to ask Mel I'm going to call on Mel in just a little bit to talk about the topic that he selected and posted, and some of the others of you too who didn't get a chance to post in or couldn't get to the Google Doc. I understand. It's okay. We're just taking this along, and it's all right. So, and then we were going to learn from about the topic from the literature. So you think about what's in the literature, and you look at what's the literature. You look at you brainstorm about your topic. So I just took bilingual education, and I thought about all kinds of things that could possibly be related to bilingual education that I might be interested in. But that would be too much, wouldn't it? Looking at that topic and that web, that's a lot to think about. So we have to narrow it to be really significant and doable. And so we narrow our map. And so we think about narrative review of literature that is more global in nature. We can search across disciplines, and we could look at Google, we can look in other search engines. I shared with you about the National Center for Education Statistics that's here in the U.S. I'm sure that there's something there in Cambodia, but you could look in the U.S. if you wish to find specific studies. There are digital databases, EBSCO and some others. And then there are journals, many journals now that are open access to us all around the world. And those are the ones that are, and they're good journals as well. And then I ask you to think about a plan backwards. So we were thinking about maybe sometime in March that we wanted to finish this up. So we would work backwards on our deadlines, or work in your calendar on your deadlines. So that was tip 5, to do that. So today we're going to talk about tip 6 and tip 7. So I had asked you, though, to write about 5 pages with your references about your narrative review of literature and to submit those. And so I did get to look at Mel's. It's very good. Mel has a really good handle on this and where he's headed. So I'd like for Mel to talk about the topic that he is going to, that he's looking into. So Mel, would you come on and talk about the topic that you are interested in working on?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Irby. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yes. So first of all, I would like to say that it's good night from Cambodia. And yes, my name is Sarah Nivot. And my topic is about students and teacher perception of mentoring and coaching on integrated science club to promote education in Hon San Piem Chikong High School. And the reason why I select this topic for my action research, because I think that I have a purpose for the study, and I want to explore the science clubs, and including its structures or mission or action and challenges as well. And one more thing, I think that this study will figure out the impact of a mentoring and coaching program on science club, since the program has just been piloted in the school context. Yes, I mean that mentoring program just implemented in my school campus. So I figure that the program has a significant impact on the science club to promote STEM education or not. And yes, I have come up with 5 specific objectives. Yes, as the following. The first one is how science club is structured, and what benefit and challenges students and teachers encounter in science club, and also the objective of the study to explore science and teacher perception of science club, inclusion in the school, and to check students and teachers understanding in terms of STEM education, and last but not least, to investigate the student and teacher perception of mentoring and coaching on integrated science club to promote STEM education in my school campus. So this is just the brief description of my topic for action research. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent work and excellent thinking about your action research topic. And so we're going to look a little bit more today. Thank you so much, Mel, for the work that you put into that and thinking through and looking up topics in your narrative, your literature review. I think that that's really good. And you're a little bit ahead of the game in terms of your purpose. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So we'll go ahead now. Thank you so much. We'll come back to some of the items in a little bit, I think, that you have talked about. Excellent work. So we're going to look at, tip 6. And I want you to reflect on you've read the literature and you have looked at your topic now. And so we might need to, based on whatever you've read or a person has read about the literature, you might want to reflect on that. And you may want to change direction based on what you've read. Maybe you learned enough about it from reading, but maybe you didn't, and maybe you really do want to go into this topic in your school. So this is important. That's why you want to read the literature and think about it. But first, before we frame up our theoretical and conceptual framework, actually number 6, I want to really talk about your purpose first, okay? So let's frame up the purpose now. So in writing a purpose statement, it's really important because that helps to give you direction in your study. And what you might want to do is take some sticky notes and just think about the parts of the purpose statement. We're going to look at parts of the purpose statement and how do you write a purpose statement and in an action research study or in any study for that matter. How would you do that? You might want to take sticky notes. I don't know if you have any handy, but you can just jot them even on your paper right now. So let's look at this. So so you have in a purpose statement, I want you to think about some pieces of the purpose statement. You'll have your topic. You have a measured component in there, something that you're going to look at and measure. And then you want to have clarity in your purpose statement. So those are 3 key pieces that we want to look at in our purpose statement. So we're going to look at an example of purpose statements, and we're going to see with our sticky notes, what are the pieces that we can find. So here's an example. So the purpose of my action research study was to determine how parents of bilingual children perceive the effectiveness of the pre-kindergarten science curriculum as it relates to their children's literacy development. So what are we interested in here? What is the topic? So it's about the curriculum, the kindergarten, pre-K, kindergarten. There's the pre-K piece right there. Just as a sample, looking at sticky notes. So I stuck on pre-K. It's about their curriculum. It's about their literacy development. And it's parents. Parents are what we want to know. How do they perceive the effectiveness of these things with their children in the pre-K classroom? So do you see, you pick apart your purpose statement. You look at your topic, you look at your measured components, and then you look at your, for clarity and making sure that it's very clear in there. And so we're going to look at another purpose statement, and then I'm going to ask you about some and to just jot down some notes on your own purpose statements.
Dr. Irby, is there a slide that we should be seeing?
Yes.
Right now we're seeing your initial presentation slide, so I think you might need to just reshare your screen and click on the screen that you want us to see.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to get out. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me get out of here. Let me end the show. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then what we're seeing is what you would see your presenter view. So if you just change over and go to present, we should then be able to see the slide that you want us to see.
That's all I do now. Can you see that now? Oh, it's going back to the same topic one. I don't know why it's doing that. Can you see this? Can you see where I'm jumping around?
Mm-hmm.
We can see your initial slide, but in the corner, we can see slide 12, which is the one that you're actually trying to show us.
Oh, I don't know what the problem is. I'm just going to have to show it this way, okay?
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So that's really what I was talking about. I'm going to talk about purpose here. We'll go to what I was saying was you've read your literature, you've had time to reflect on it. So what's your purpose? And let's see. I'm sorry. I messed up my slide by clicking some things. So what is your purpose? And then let's frame your purpose. And so what I was saying was about the literature, you may have been going in one direction, but once you read the literature, you may need to go in another direction. And then I was saying use some sticky notes to think about the parts of a purpose statement. And then I was sharing this purpose statement right here. Okay. So like what, the purpose statement is really about parents, curriculum, science curriculum, pre-kindergarten, if I broke all of these things down, parents of bilingual children. I could look at pre-kindergarten science curriculum. It's pre-kindergarten, pre-K, and it's about literacy development. So I want to know in my classroom what the parents think about my pre-kindergarten science curriculum and how they perceive that's helping their children's literacy development. So that's what I'm trying to do in that particular statement. So that's a pretty clear statement. And there are pieces to this statement that we're going to look at. Those are the topic, the measured component, and we're going to check it for clarity. So we'll take a deeper look at this statement, this purpose statement. And so here's an example. Look at this example. So the purpose of my study was to investigate how mothers of students view the classroom. So we could take some sticky notes and we could say they're mothers of students and it's a classroom. But do you think that that's very clear? Anyone? Kim? Is that a real clear purpose statement right there? Do you think?
I think it can be.
It's better, right? It could be better, correct? So let's look at how we could write that more clearly. Okay, how could we make this better and make sure that it has all of these pieces? So look at this. In the red, we would write this. Always, it's easy. This little formula is easy. So begin with the purpose of my study was to, and it's all right in your action research project. It's okay to use me, my, I. If you're a team working on something, we, our, us. So anyway, we can use first person singular or plural, depending on how you're working in a team or not. And so you can use first person. In fact, sometimes it's better to use first person, and particularly in action research projects, it's about you and it's about your classroom or your school. So it's okay to do that. And the American Psychological Association's manual, 7th edition manual, also suggests for clarity to use first person when you're talking about your own study. So the purpose of my study was to, that's the first words that you can use in a purpose statement. And then was to do what? Investigate, determine. There are all kinds of words that you could put in there, verbs that you could put in there, infinitives, to investigate, to determine, to analyze. So to analyze what? So what is the what? The measured component is how mothers see. Remember, we had mothers of students. Well, let's make that clear. Mothers of first grade students in a Cambodian classroom. So we know now it's first grade in Cambodia, in a Cambodian classroom. So we know that now, and that's clear, more clear. Mothers of first grade students in a Cambodian classroom. And what are we looking at to investigate what? How do they perceive the interactions? So we want to know their perceptions about the interactions. We want to know mothers' perceptions about the interactions of the children when they are in cooperative learning groups during earth science lessons. So there's science. It's not just a classroom. See, how do they view the classroom? No, it's about perceiving the interactions of the children when they are in cooperative learning groups during earth science lessons. Now, when you work on your methods section, you'll explain this a little bit further because you'll talk about 6 earth science lessons, 30-minute science lessons for, remember, this is first grade, so it'll be short lessons, maybe 30-minute lessons. So maybe the mothers are going to come in. Maybe you're going to invite 5 mothers to come and observe their children during cooperative learning group session. And they're going to observe all of the children in their cooperative learning groups. And they're going to look at the interactions of the children. You may even give them a little rubric to look at and to score or to write notes on of what they're seeing. And so those are all methods. But first, you have to have your purpose. So this purpose, if I were doing this in my first grade classroom, then I would set this up like this, because I wanted to know about what the mothers are, how the mothers or the families, so to speak, are thinking, are seeing children in learning in science, and what do they think about this? And that's important as you frame up your other cooperative learning groups, or you could not say even mothers. It could be other teachers on your campus, other first grade teachers, or maybe your third grade teachers coming in looking at your children during learning cooperative learning groups. So that's a way that we could make that more clear. Do you have questions about this?
Thank you,
Anyone
Dr.
has
Irby.
questions? Yes. Go on. Please go on. If anyone has questions, unmute your mic, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
So regarding to the purpose statement, can we list down the specific name of the school, and is it a conflict to the ethical consideration, or it should be okay for action research?
Well, this is about your school. So, but if you were going to put this out to the world. I'm not sure if your school would allow you to use, some schools allow you to use the names of the schools, but some don't.
I see.
So,
So
you have to have a permission, at least here in the U.S., an individual would have to have a direct permission from the school, an explicit permission to use the name of the school or the school district in the study, if you're writing, as you write up the study. Otherwise, you could make up a school name like Happy Day Elementary School or something like that. So you could make it up, okay? You could use a pseudonym, in other words, if you wanted to.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Irby.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, do you have questions for Dr. Irby? Feel free to.
Hello, doctor.
Yes.
So I am interested in what you have just mentioned earlier about pseudonym name. Is that what we created it by ourselves, or just like, like asking from the school about that?
Okay, so you would first ask your school or your principal. I mean, I'm sure that you've talked to the principal or to the leader of your school about that you're doing an action research project on mentoring in your school. So this one was not about mentoring, but I just was giving an example here. But if you were to go to your principal and say, I'm writing up an action research project, and, I don't know at this time if it's going to be put on a website somewhere for the NGPRC, or if it's going to be in the NGPRC and Research Hub for ELRC. I don't know where it might reside, but, it might be published. So would we want to have our name of the school in the study, or do we want to just make a pseudonym for the name of our school? So you can make up the name of your school if you want to, and if your leader of the project and maybe perhaps Professor Chan Ra or Dr. Somara's son would know what we might need to be doing, or Dr. Kong or Dr. Horman. I don't know what the philosophy is there and what the guidelines are for conducting the study and writing it up in terms of the use of the name of the school. I'm just telling you what I'm accustomed to here in the U.S. We would either have to get express permission to use the name, or we would have to make up a pseudonym for the school name. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you so much, doctor.
Sure.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes.
May I ask you a question for writing the purpose of the statement? Can we write in the bullet points? For example, if we have more than one purpose.
That is a wonderful question. Excellent question. That's what I was about to talk about. You are right on target. So perhaps this is the main purpose. Let's say that's the main purpose. You could even write, the main purpose of my study was to do this, okay? And then you can even go in and write, you can call it a secondary purpose, or additionally, I will investigate whatever it might be. Well, I can't dive here. So those become, this is the main. Okay, so you will always have a main purpose. And then you will have these these are called sub purposes. I think that's what you're talking about, right? I can't tell who's speaking. So if you would tell me who it is that's talking to me, because it's hard for me to see who's talking and seeing the screen as well. Do you mind? Who was asking the question?
It's me, Kamsan.
Oh, Kim. Okay. So does that make sense? You have a major or main purpose, and then you have sub purposes or secondary purposes. Does that make sense?
I got it. Thank you, doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So those are secondary. Wherever you use the purpose ever in your paper, when you're writing the purpose and you're restating that purpose somewhere else, always use the same words. It's really important because, you know why? Because we confuse the reader. If I change this up, this purpose statement later and say something else about mothers looking at cooperative learning in my classroom or whatever, I just, it's okay to be repetitive. You know, you don't have to be creative. Just be repetitive if you're restating your purpose or your sub-purposes even. Don't be creative. Just state the purpose and keep it the same. Otherwise, in the mind of the reader, whoever's reading your study becomes confused because they think, oh, well, I thought this was the purpose, but now I'm reading it's something else. Even if we change just a couple of words, it can change the purpose altogether. So be sure that the purpose is always on point throughout your study. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes, doctor.
Of course.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, I got it, doctor.
Yeah. Now, Mel, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Dr. Irby, I think if I'm not wrong, Ms. Kamsan want to ask you whether we can write the purpose statement in bullet points, not in a paragraph format. That's what her original question.
Oh, I saw it. I'm sorry. I didn't answer that question, did I? So it's better if you will put your main purpose in a paragraph form. I mean, not a paragraph, but a statement form like this. But, you could, additionally, I'll investigate, 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could have that in a bullet point or in a 1, 2, 3 down the page.
So it's just a matter of format, right? We are free to
Let me see if
have our own style.
Yes. I'm going to try to, so let me just add another slide in here. So you could say, we just said the following. Okay. And then you can do 1, 2, 3. Like that. So you could do it bulleted down the page or 1, 2, 3. Okay?
Yeah, thanks for the demonstration. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, doctor.
I can't seem to type today. I'm so sorry. So
You're doing a great
help.
job, Dr. Irby. You're doing a great job.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next. Now, Mel, in your paper, you had some secondary, you had a main purpose, and then you had some secondary kinds of purposes, right? That I saw.
Yes.
Mel. I'm sorry, I may not be saying the name correctly.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. I think that you had a main purpose. You had several purposes, but you had a main one, and then you had some secondary purposes. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. And, everyone can see the Google Drive. So, we all learn from each other. Let me just say that. We can all learn from each other. So any comments that I made are corrections, and please take these as very positive. And, if I make any corrections or minor corrections or whatever I'm making there, please don't feel bad about it. It's good. You've done, and Mel's is the only one that I got to see, but it was so good, y'all. It was so good. I just pulled up some paragraphs or some sentences into paragraphs, and that's about it, because it was very well done. And so I want you to take a look at that one, because that sort of can give you an idea of how you might continue to work on yours as well. Now let's look at this next one. So tip 7, as I said, the purpose statement is important, as is tip 7. So this is a theoretical framework. So this will be a section next, and it also gives you direction. Your purpose statement gives you direction. You have to follow and keep in line with that purpose statement and your additional ones. And also a theoretical or conceptual framework will provide direction. So a theoretical, and we could say, or a conceptual, is a guiding theory or combination of theories that aid in giving. You see, I couldn't write today. Giving direction to the study. It grounds the study, frames it. I'm telling you that those R's are gone. Drives its direction. I'm so sorry. I really am. I apologize. Direction, and brings it to closure. So it grounds it, it frames it, it drives its direction, and it brings it to closure. So that's a theoretical framework. There are several theories that you might, or concepts. Yours may be more of a conceptual framework. So it might be the concept that you're looking at. So even if we went back to this one, that one, we might want to look at maybe our theoretical framework is some type of interactive theory where children are interacting, or how people interact. And we could look for a theory related to that. Or maybe we want to think about cooperative learning interactions with children. And that's more of a conceptual framework. It's not a theory, but it's more conceptual. And so I want to write a little bit from the literature about I'm going to take the conceptual framework of cooperative learning groups and interactions. So I might want to pull a couple of paragraphs in. I want to talk about cooperative learning, and that sets my stage for my study. Not only the purpose, which is here, but this helps to clarify it a little bit more and helps to drive it in terms of cooperative learning. And so that would be what I might do in my study if I were actually doing this particular study in my classroom. Does that make sense to you?
So the cooperative interactions that we'll be writing is based on our context, right, Dr. Irby?
Of your
So that we
content.
so that
That's
we
right.
can construct like framework.
Right. It's either a theory or it's a concept. So
Mhm.
theories are a little bit different from concepts. Okay. So you can use an interaction theory or you could use a cooperative learning concept, the concept
see.
of cooperative learning. If you were doing this one, you know, it's not, I'm just using this as an example. So think about look at your purpose after you've written your purpose. What is it that you're really wanting to do? And then go in to see what the theoretical framework is related to that. Now, you've probably already will have read some things in the literature about it. And you might can find a theory that will help you guide and continue the study, or it may be just the concept of like this, of cooperative learning and interaction within cooperative learning groups. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes, Doctor. So conceptual framework can be framed from the literatures as well as the practices, right, Doctor?
Yes, that's correct.
So then conceptual framework does not necessarily require references. Simply conceptualize, right?
Conceptual framework or theoretical framework would have to have a reference, like your theory. If you used Bandera's social theory, then you would have Bandera on there. You know, the reference to Bandera 1992 or whatever year it was. If you use cooperative learning, you might have Johnson & Johnson 1990 or 1985 or whatever, whenever that was. Or it could be something from a reference from uncooperative learning as a conceptual framework from Robert Slavin, you know, 2000 or something like that. So that would be, you would have to have a reference related to the theory itself, if it's a theoretical framework, or it can be a conceptual. You can change that out for, it could be a conceptual framework.
So basically they are identical, but look like conceptual, vertical framework seems to be worldwide accepted theories, while
That's
conceptual framework, I see, okay.
It's a
Thank you so much.
The concept is the word term there. Yes, exactly. So one is theoretical or theory-based, and one is, you know, concept-based. Okay?
I can give you a really quick example of that. So historically, there are three ways that we've perceived children, right? So Calvin, with Calvinism, basically said that children are bad and that we have to like have strong classroom management and we have to be punitive to make them good, right? But in essence, they're born bad. And then John Locke came in and said that children aren't good or bad. They're just a blank slate, tabula rasa. And they're this blank canvas that we just need to build society, education upon. And then later, Rousseau came in and said that children are inherently good, right? So depending on your theoretical framework, you believe children are inherently bad and naughty, and we have to make them good. Children are not good or bad, and we can build on within them whatever we want. Or children are fundamentally good, right? Depending on your worldview, your theoretical framework will be one of those three things, right? And by stating your theoretical framework, it positions your paper with, we're coming from this perspective, right?
I see. So generally, we select a framework based on our position as well.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, are you coming at your paper from a behaviorist standpoint? Are you coming at it from a constructivist standpoint, a cognitive standpoint? Like, what's the pedagogical perspective you're coming at your paper from, right? What are the underlying beliefs of the paper that you're writing from that position.
Thank you, Dr. Echel, for adding some parts. Thank you.
Okay, always welcome.
Clear.
Mhm.
Appreciate that.
So I wish that you could get, let me see, I don't know if I've got a copy of I have a whole handbook of theoretical of theories, of educational theories. I don't have that here at my desk, but it's a bit, do you have yours handy? You could show. There are a lot. Hold on one second. I'm going to, if you'll hold 1 second, I'll be right back to get it. 1 second.
Sure thing.
Carry on, Dr. Etchels.
Thank you, Dr. Irby. So theoretical framework might feel a little bit uncommon to you. It is different from a literature review. Your literature review is what has been the previous research. And based on the previous research, how does that influence our research questions, right? Where are the gaps in the research and the research need that we're fulfilling by doing this research? Because what your research should do, your action research, it should add new knowledge to the field of education, in this case, mentoring and coaching, that wasn't previously there, right? So what is your knowledge contribution? Part of that is your theoretical framework, okay, that you're stating from what conceptual, theoretical standpoint are we coming from, right? Because there are big differences in the field between person A believes the world is shaped this way, person B believes the world is shaped this way, and you want to state that in your paper. Go ahead, Dr. Irby.
Yes. So this is the handbook. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So it's the Handbook of Educational Theories, and it's pretty thick. It's a big book. But so this is a book that we put together, and I'm going to just share some of the theories that that I'm talking about. So there are various types of theories. So I've got learning theories in here, behaviorism, as Dr. Etchels was talking about, behaviorism and behavioral learning theory. There's cognitivism, or ways of knowing, experiential learning theory. There's adult learning theory. Perhaps you're just talking about just the teachers. There's cognitive theory of multimedia learning. Constructivism, cooperative learning theory actually is in here, problem-based learning theory. And so tell me what your theory is, and then perhaps we could make a copy of the chapter and send it to you. That would be an individual send, because, I can't copy the whole book. Of course, it's 1,000 pages, but anyway. But there are also counseling theories, moral development theories, literacy and language theories. We don't have mentoring theories at this point. We are looking at that, and in the International Handbook of Mentoring with Wiley that I recently did, that particular book, I call mentoring a new field, because a discipline. I think that it is a discipline. So, we don't have that theory. We're working on a theory of mentoring at this point. But, there are concepts about mentoring. So yours might have concepts related to mentoring. Peer mentoring, maybe you're looking at peer mentoring. Maybe you're looking at co-mentoring. So those would be concepts, not theories. And then there are also classroom management theories, assessment theories, organizational theories, leadership and management theories. I mean, there are all kinds of theories, social justice theories. and teaching and education delivery system theories. So there are all kinds of theories, but there are also concepts. So there are real theories out there, but there are also conceptual pieces that are still not theories yet. And mentoring is one of those. It's not a theory. If you're going to talk about mentoring, it's really a conceptual framework. Okay?
I see, Dr.
Yes. So let's take a look at the next steps before we run out of time. So I think that our next steps will be to write your purpose statement and to post these, add them to your paper. And so let's turn these in 1 week prior to our next meeting. And then I want you to write a couple of paragraphs about your theoretical or conceptual framework. So you determine which one you will use, and a couple of paragraphs is sufficient. So that's what we're going to do for next time. So you might take a look in the, Mel used a different kind of organization. He used a numbering system, which is seen in a lot of science papers. We may change those headers as we move out and try to figure out how we're going to put all of our papers together. But right now, that's perfectly fine. And I think that he did a wonderful job of organizing the paper from the beginning to the point where he is. So I think you might take a look at that and just see the organization of it. And I think that it's a good thing. Now, one thing I did want to mention, Mel, that I noted, and for everybody, if you're quoting something from, Smith study from 2000, Smith 2000 stated whatever it might be, and you have to put that in quotes because, it's Smith's words, actual words. You will have to put a page number at the end of that statement. I added that in for you so that you could just drop the page number. It could be a paragraph number. If it's an online piece of work and it doesn't have page numbers, you actually have to count the paragraphs, like paragraph 4 or something, and put that in so that you'll have that, and so that the reader would have that if they wanted to go directly to that. So, okay, so that's the only thing that I saw that might help everyone in terms of writing. But otherwise, this is it for today. Just your purpose statement. Make sure remember that we have to make sure that it is on topic, that it's a measured component is there, and it's very clearly outlined as to what we're doing. Okay? So that's it. Any other questions? And I'm not sure when we'll be meeting again. I'm sure that it would be, this is the 17th of November.
About a month from now, looking at our calendars, but we'll come up with a date and we'll send out in the Telegram group. If you're new today, Uyok will drop in a link for you for the first session that we did. So please go ahead and watch. We'll share this again with Hormone so that you can get access to it. Please go back if you're new today and watch the first video. And then everybody needs to make sure, except Mel, because he did his homework, everybody needs to make sure that they catch up on the first assignment and then do anything that Dr. Irby's asked from today so that we're all in the same place for the third session. Okay, so it's really important that you make progress and you hold yourselves accountable and that you do what we're asking you to do. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to move ahead with the action research professional development certificate with the hours that we're looking at. And for us to be able to say as a tier 1 institution, these folks in Cambodia are trained in action research. Okay, so we're trying to build out your capacity in this research skill. Very critical, very important, very useful for educators in classrooms. So we want you to make sure that you do the assignments and that you stay on track with everybody. So go ahead and watch the first video, and then we'll share the recording for this session as well, so you can look back at anything you want to have a closer look at. In the interim between now and the third session, Uyokai and Dr. Irby will look at some action research paper examples that have really good examples of theoretical frameworks, lit reviews, how to pose your research questions, and we'll make a group folder for you of some of those research papers so you can have a look at some published action research and see kind of a guide to the direction that you should be moving in. Just a couple of examples for you.
But right now, what Mel has started is really a great start, I think, for everybody to even go in there and look at that one in the Google. I think that's good. You've done a great job. Now, here's another thing, and I purposefully didn't post any up. I wanted to see what you could come up with first. Then we can post up some now for you to move forward with. However, I just wanted to say this is a more formal process where we're writing it up, we're putting it down in writing. There's a more informal action research that once you learn the steps and once you actually go in and write it down and do all of this and internalize how to do it, then we'll talk about next steps of ones that you can do a little bit more quickly than this one in terms of moving forth out of this more formal setting. So, and writing it up. So we'll talk about that at the end. And, but I do want you to see that this is the formal process for doing and conducting and writing up an action research project. Okay. Thank you so much. And you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Have a good night's sleep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Everyone.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes, thank you so
so
much,
Thank
Doctor.
you. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Professor.
Good night, Doctor.
Night.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Recording stopped.